Tonight's Xfinity TV High School Football Game of the Week postgame show is brought to you by the Pittsburgh Sports Report, Pittsburgh's premier sports publication. Visit them on the web at pittsburghsportsreport.com. Well, I have to comment on this. Friday night in Western Pennsylvania is always special, but the atmosphere here in Canonsburg tonight with these two ball clubs going at it toe-to-toe, tooth to tooth, and I mean they ground one out all the way down to the end of the ball game, and so many great fans in the stands. There's just, the bands at halftime. This was a superb atmosphere here this evening, and we saw a really good football game.
We saw a great game, and frankly, there was like an event environment. We've been kidding tonight about Oktoberfest, but just a couple of blocks away, that adds to it. Families in the street, and yeah, there's a great vibe all over the place. And that first half was square to 10, but I have to tell you what, I actually felt that because they came back and the way they did it, and because Canon was doing it the way they wanted to do it, they actually won that half, if you will. Second half, there were some things that went by way of Mount Lebanon. They wanted to run the ball. They ran the ball a lot more. They ended with 106, only allowing 25 total. They had 413 total yards, a little off their average, but back to their game. And Mount Lebanon was excellent in the third down category. 8 of 16, Chris, versus 20%, 2 of 10. But you take a look at that first half, you saw reason for that excitement to grow. It did. And Mount Lebanon fought it off. Yep,
Tim is on the sideline right now with Coach Mike Melnick. I've got a feeling he's breathing now, Tim.
Yeah, he is breathing a sigh of relief, not only about the final score, 24-17, Mount Lebanon beats Canon, but also, Coach, you have to be happy with the way your team ran the ball in the second half. It's something you said to me going off the field at halftime that you wanted to dedicate the team better to in the second half. Losado winds up with 152 as a result.
Yeah, we wanted to try to grind the ball a little bit, wear them down a little bit, and we did a good job of that. Some of the penalties just set us back. Otherwise, we would have continued to run the ball, but I was proud of the kids. They stepped up front and got the job done.
And when you needed a big play through the air, you got a couple of them through this guy on my left, Aiden Kane. He continues to produce for you. What'd you see from him tonight?
Yeah, well, Aiden's a great player, and when you can run the football, now they have to pay more attention to your run game. They start to come down. That opens up some pass plays, and Aiden's capable of delivering.
Well, Aiden, let's talk to you. You're our player of the game for tonight. 10 catches for 211 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns along the way. Talk to us about the balance your offense showed. To your coach's point, how much did the run game open things up for you?
The run game definitely opened things up for us. Once we could start running the ball, they started bringing guys up. It opened some of the double moves, stuff like that. We were able to get a couple big plays.
And also defensively, you did a nice job too. You had a couple of interceptions collectively as a unit in the secondary, and you had a big pick along the way too.
Yeah, our defense really stepped up in the second half, especially on the last couple drives when we needed one. We needed to stop.
Well, Aiden, congratulations. Continued success throughout the year. Coach Melnick, thank you to you as well. Guys, we'll send it back upstairs. Mount Lebanon wins 24-17 here at Canon Mac.
All right, Tim, we're just watching on our screen right now Aiden Kane catching some long balls tonight. He had some great receptions and even a pick in this ball game tonight. 73-yard touchdown strike from James Stocker earlier in the game, and then a 51-yard touchdown catch for Aiden Kane here tonight. And again, we were mentioning early in the broadcast that he holds the state record now for pass receptions in one game. He broke a record that stood for 45 years, and this is a kid who battled back from 2 ACL tears in his left knee. He hasn't played the last 2 seasons, and all of a sudden, he's a human highlight film.
Well, as I said, he's a human headline, and I said at the beginning, he is, to me, going to be one of the major storylines of this season if this keeps up. He had 10 catches. We've talked about that. Ends with 211. Those 2 touchdowns, that gives him 51 catches, Chris. But this idea, he came in averaging over 200 yards a game. He added to that tonight another couple hundred. There's just so much to like here. A lot of times, maybe outside the world of athletics, we see a lot of folks paying younger kids and their unwillingness to put the work in. Think about what this kid went through for a few years, 2 or 3 years, thinking if he'd ever get his opportunity again. Had to go to Colorado. He worked with the former Steeler linebacker, helped him out there. Long story short, he put himself in a position to come out here, look like he never missed a beat, looks great, very polished. I'm very impressed, very pleased for him and his success.
Take a look at our Best of the Batch Foundation play of the game here tonight on the Xfinity High School Football Game of the Week. Winding up, throwing long, Stocker And, yeah, that was that first touchdown catch of the game for Aiden Kane, 73 yards. And Mount Lebanon got on the board very, very early on the night. That was at the 9:17 mark of the first period of play. You don't have to go too far into this ball game to find our best of the batch play of the game. And he is also our player of the game, Aiden Kane of the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils, and they win this one 24-17 tonight. Spectacular game for Aiden Kane again.
Stalker, by the way, was the guy throwing the ball. He's back. He played most of the game. There was that concern there late when he appeared to have some type of leg injury. Came back when they needed him. He ends up with 246 throwing the ball. Again, it helps when 211 go to one player. But I was impressed with Lewis, the sophomore.
Yes.
Talked a lot about him in the game. He ended up throwing 245, I think 38 attempts, and they have some things, obviously, offensively. Maybe a little bit more packed than I thought.
I'll tell you what, I was impressed with Canon Max sticking with it. They were down 10-0, answered, tied the game up at 10. Of course, late in the game, they were down by 14 points, 2 touchdowns. Came back and got one of those back and almost got the second one. That's how tight a ball game this was.
Well, that's
excellent
buy-in.
contest.
That's
tonight.
buy-in. I mean, that's that is the guys working through the system, believing in the head coach, believing that his staff has got their best interests and know what they're doing, committing emotionally. But I think you're right. When you're down a couple of times and you're able to keep it here and get yourself back to a one-score game with the ball, I give them a lot of credit.
Excellent game tonight. Mount Lebanon wins it 24-17 over the Canon McMillan Big Macs. Great atmosphere here tonight in Canonsburg. We want to thank everybody for having us here, and we're looking forward to our next broadcast as well. Final score here tonight, the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils 24 and the Canon McMillan Big Macs 17. Great night for high school football here in Western Pennsylvania and on Xfinity.